Are you ready to ignite your business and achieve your full potential? Welcome to Building Success Stories, the podcast that empowers entrepreneurs and business leaders. I'm Donnelly, and I've spent over 4 decades in the business world. I've witnessed the power of perseverance, innovation, and strategic thinking firsthand. We'll explore the stories of successful entrepreneurs and business leaders, and we'll delve into the practical strategies and mindset shifts that can propel your business to new heights. Get ready to be inspired and motivated to take your business to the next level. I'm here with Ginny Brandreth, COO of Zobel and Co. Kitchens here in Glens Falls. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, Ann. How are you?
Thank you so much for your time. Tell us a little bit about how you got started because pretty much right out of college, you had a marketing degree, and you were in marketing for years.
A marketing degree and started in consumer products in Syracuse and then quickly ended up in Rochester and was in consumer products there. So I went from being kind of marketing communications, then to marketing manager, then to product manager, then to lead senior product manager. And it was fun. I have to say that probably in terms of my whole career, that was fun, most fun time because I was young. The company was dynamic and growing, and I got to see so many different kinds of business, everything from a little mom and pop locksmith to making presentations at Walmart, Home Depot, and traveling overseas for our business over in Europe. So that was fun.
Yeah.
That was very, very fun.
And this is before digital marketing had.
Oh God, yeah. You know what?
So this is like real marketing.
This you can relate to this. We had a really nice design firm in Skinny Atlas called Chase Design, and they did everything from a lot of product design to all our marketing. And so when we did package marketing, we would meet several times. They would do literally hand sketches of what the outside of the packaging would be, and then they would do these gigantic mock-ups and these big, huge boards where they would literally glue every piece of type and everything down. And then that would go to the printer, be photographed. They'd run a proof sheet. Then I would be going to press runs at 2:00 in the morning and trying to justify the colors with the printer. It was just so much work. And now it's like none of that.
It's so different. I was in printing before.
Were you?
So, and it was kind of just around the time where things were going more digital.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to see, like, I was never there when it was hot type.
Oh my gosh.
To see how it's transformed in not such a long time.
And not such a long time. Well, I kind of think so. I feel like it was yesterday, but
yeah.
But yeah, so there's been a lot of changes. And of course, when I was buying media, it was print media, and I had a print reps that would come in, and now everything is just all digital. And with design software that's readily available, I design our ads. I'm not a graphic designer, but for a lot of things you don't have to be. And it is kind of sad because I have a large number of friends that are in the creative side. Yeah. They're copywriters, they're graphic designers, they're photographers, and their industry does get nibbled away with the software that's available today online, and AI is kind of nibbling at that. But I wish AI was around when I was writing press releases 25 years ago.
Right, it's really good for stuff like that.
Yeah. But then when I left consumer products, I ended up, as we were just talking about, I ended up over in Europe, in Dublin for a number of years. And funny, I couldn't, because I was a trailing spouse, I legally couldn't work, but the relocation agent that moved us was bringing over hundreds of American families because this is the Celtic Tiger and companies were open. So I worked for her, and then I worked as a volunteer for the Paul Newman's home walking camp.
Oh yeah, is this in the 90s?
Yeah. Yep. So it's sister camp, the Double H camp. And so that was interesting, and that got me, can you imagine? And you probably felt this way. I mean, you went from being a 60 to 70-hour a week product manager
absolutely.
to a housewife in Ireland where the stores closing.
And I wasn't in Dublin. I was in rural Westport, so you can imagine.
Oh yeah, even worse. Even worse. I remember the first time I walked in with my eldest was born, and we walked in. My husband was traveling all the time; he was never home. And I walked into a pub, and like, no smoking. She goes, "Oh, there's no smoking here, dear." Like, oh yeah, smoking and chain smoking. Which one do you want? And so things really changed, even when we were there. But when I came back, I got back into more B2B marketing. And I eventually went out on my own and filled a niche that was that I saw in Rochester and other places where you have medium-sized company, around $10 million, and they don't have a marketing department, but they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I would do is I would fill that role, marketing manager, for say 20 hours a week. And I would always say to my clients, my goal is for you to let go of me and hire somebody permanently. I don't want to work for you permanently, but I want you to
get them started.
Get them started. I want you to see the value of it.
Yeah.
And then I worked for one company for quite a long time, getting them ready to be acquired. And so, and one of the things I did in that time period is I networked like it was my job. Mm-hmm. I substituted for 7 BNI groups. So I never paid any fees, but breakfast, lunch, I started a networking group called First Thursdays. So, and there was a lot of M&A people in it. So people from Boston would come over on their way to Buffalo. It was so funny because people would call me and was like, when's the First Thursday meeting? I'm like, I guess it might be Tuesday. Right. Doesn't the name just kind of tell you it's Thursday? But
too easy.
But that's really secret sauce. And I know that I'm an extrovert, so I like meeting people. I like talking to people. And I realize it's not for everybody. It's very difficult for some people. But if you can get the hang of networking, it's incredible how business grows. Mm-hmm. And even working with Arthur, Arthur doesn't like going to mixers until I drag him along. Mm-hmm. And then he has a great time. But it makes such a difference. You never know where business is going to come from. And you never know where, if you meet somebody and they say, well, I'm looking for such and such, and you've got a connection, then somewhere along the line, someone's going to make a connection for you.
Yeah.
And I think as an entrepreneur, that's one of the things you have to master, mm-hmm. is getting out there and networking and being a resource for others. And then that comes back in time. It really, really does. Mm-hmm. So
that's your big.
That's my big thing.
Your big
and
tip.
That's my big tip, is really just get to network, get to understand, listen to people, find out what they need, and help them. Because then someone's going to help you. It always comes back. And so I was doing that, and then because I have a substantial interest in the Adirondacks, and that's a whole other life of mine. Mm-hmm. I was living in Fairport, which is a suburb of Rochester, and I loved raising my kids there. It was wonderful. But it was just too far from the Adirondack property. So I told the kids, when the youngest one goes to college, I'm moving to Saratoga, because I have a lot of friends in the area.
Mm-hmm. So that's how you ended up in this area.
Yeah, because I always had friends. I almost bought a condo back when they were like $200,000.
Right, if only.
If only. And I told my youngest, when you go to college, I'm going to Saratoga. And so they had a lot of runway to kind of marinate on that. And I took her to college on a Friday, and the moving van came the following Thursday. Oh, wow. And here I am.
You weren't kidding.
I was not. No, I was very, very serious about that. And so Arthur and I were kind of looked around. Arthur was doing very, very well in Westchester County. His father was a kitchen designer and a cabinet maker. His brother was living in Saratoga before he moved up. And was a kitchen designer. His daughter now is a kitchen designer in Westchester County, so it's kind of what he has to do. And so he was trying to, like, would he work for somebody else? And I said, why don't we open our own place? I'll do the back end, you do the front end. And that's how
how this started.
And
when was that?
2016. So he moved up in 2016. We were 0-6 in finding places in Saratoga. It never worked out. So I said, what about Glens Falls? Because then we can get closer to the Adirondacks. And he walked around and walked around. We almost bought another place here in town, and that fortunately fell through because he walked into this building and it's perfect. I mean, you can see all this natural light, huge ceilings, so we can have big displays. And
were there many other businesses in this building at the time?
so no, there were businesses. So Mannix was upstairs, and no, the law firm was upstairs, but there weren't that many. The physical therapy folks, Locomotion, was downstairs. And then shortly after we started renovating this spot, because this was Finders Keepers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was really pink and red. And the walls weren't here. All these walls, it was big open space. And in that corner where the conference room was it was a room like that had, I don't know, maybe 2.5 foot, 3 foot wall made out of brick. And it was a safe because this building is an 1800s factory and they didn't have banks back there. So there's one downstairs in the physical therapy area that they use as a closet. And the landlord, Tom O'Neill, said, well, you can use it as a closet. And I said, no, it's coming out. And Tom's like, no, I mean, like the walls. So he's like, Arthur's like, no, it's coming out. And so they took it out, broke it down one piece at a time, I think. So while it took a year to get the showroom together. And while that happened, then Dana Russell and Greg started on the Salt Cave. And then things started moving along. And yeah, so this building kind of filled up. Yeah, and then AJA Architecture was down on South Street. They moved upstairs. So the building's really come along. And so Arthur was working back and forth, and I moved over in 2017 and started working here. And it's interesting because, I mean, the marketing's not the hard part. It's some of the rest of the stuff. Like QuickBooks and I just don't get along very well. And thank God for Lorraine Buffard at Every Penny Bookkeeping. She saves me. Like she's worth every cent, you know, and more.
I worked with her too.
Yeah, and she's great. And she doesn't call me stupid when I ask her about the same thing over and over again. But you know, I must say, like one of the things when you get back to entrepreneurship is you have to do things that you've never done before. And you have to get out of your comfort zone and, you know, finally learn a piece of software or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's parts of this business that I don't know anything about. And I really don't get into the design aspect at all. And I can greet people and I can walk them through the first stages, but that's really Arthur's role. My role is to kind of keep everything else going, you know. Keeping
the behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes and stuff, you know, insurances and stuff that I just never had to deal with before. Yeah. And so there's a little bit of being out of your comfort zone and sometimes not liking it, but you know, this is part of it. You know, I signed up for it and all. So, and I think that's the difference between being an entrepreneur and not. Like, you're willing to put yourself in a position where, you know, this is not really what I want to do or really I enjoy doing, but this is going to move me forward.
Because you're responsible for everything.
Yeah.
But you do, like you said, with Every Penny, you delegated your bookkeeping.
I do the bookkeeping. Yeah. She comes in when I make a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, Lorraine, QuickBooks and I are having a fight.
But sometimes you have to delegate.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard for people to do, especially if you're used to doing everything.
Yeah. So most of the marketing, I do have, I delegated the social media part of it because it's not so much that I don't know how to do it. It's just that the algorithms change a lot. So, and it's not one of the things that I enjoy doing.
You're not doing it day in
at all. Whereas the website work, I don't mind getting into the weeds with the analytics and I don't mind working on the website myself. I didn't design it, but I can manage the whole thing by myself. Yeah. So I enjoyed that. So I kept it. You know, I would say that one of, maybe not regrets, but starting a business late in life, it's just like we have such a long runway before we transition, you know, which is we're here for a while. We're here for a good long time.
I was going to say, what's in the future?
Well, you know what? Who knows? I mean, I don't know if our daughter Sarah is going to come up and take over the business. That would be great. And that was kind of the joke when she started with the design firm. It's like, good, you train her, then she can come up and work for us. Or if we'll find a designer who wants the business. You know, it's an interesting business because you don't really have a book of business, right? People don't do a kitchen every other year.
Yeah, like lawyers and
so so we do a kitchen. They might come back in a few years and they want some cabinetry, or maybe they want an outdoor kitchen. But
you have a reputation.
We have a reputation, and we're really focused on kind of Glens Falls North. We do projects in Saratoga, but there are great design firms in Saratoga, and we don't need to butt heads with them. But we do some projects here and a lot up north. I said if I had to monetize Arthur's travel time, we'd be broke because he's constant. Like today's over in Sagadaga. He's going to be Lake Placid Monday. Yeah, but that's fine, and he loves it. He really he's doing what he really loves.
Yeah, so. That's always wonderful.
Yeah.
It gives you that passion to keep going.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? I must say that the difference too for me is, while we don't take a lot of vacations and we never live, we work on our business all the time, as you know. I mean, so making phone calls on the weekends, and somebody will send us an email at 9:00 at night. I'm likely to respond, So, but like that too, we aren't as rigid about our business in terms of we take days off and do day trips once a month. Like if there's nothing on the calendar, let's do something.
That's the flexibility.
Yeah, there is flexibility.
And you started this after your kids were grown.
I did, yeah. All our kids were out of the nest. Yeah, so that was
you didn't have that extra thing to think about. Because I was going to say that, like, I had been previously business partners with my spouse. And there was lots of challenges, but do you find that there's issues?
Well, you know what? If someone had told me in 2015 that I was going to work with my husband, work out with my husband, do grocery shopping with my husband, do everything with my husband, I'd be like, no, I will eat him alive. I'm a black widow. This is not going to work. But it has, I stay in my lane. I can't design, and I can't tell somebody. I can't.
Oh, that's good. Stay in your lane. That's a good bit of advice.
And so when he tries to get in my lane, I'm like, boop, 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 back out. You gotta stay in your lane.
That's funny.
So, and it's because I don't think we have the stress of raising the kids and who's going to be home to do this and who's going to be the disciplinarian or whatever. I think that also really helps.
Yeah. And I think that was my extra challenge. And then the fact that we'd be talking about business over the dinner table with the kids sitting there. And I really regret that there wasn't more division of it. But when you're business partners with your spouse,
it's really hard. And when we were first here, I went to an Albany Business Review breakfast, and it was about some of the more successful companies like Hill and Marks out there. You pass their warehouse on the thruway going west, and that's a couple that started it. And their boundaries they said we do not talk about business once we leave the office. Well, Arthur and I do, but if we had kids, I can see how that would be tough. And we also don't. If there's an issue that's really like something's really gone wrong, it's just like let's not talk about that till tomorrow.
Right. It's good to have those boundaries.
Yeah.
I think as an entrepreneur, self-employed person, you need to have those boundaries, even if you're not working with your spouse.
Right.
Just for your own sake.
When I was in Rochester, and my kids were old enough, one was in college, the others were working. I would work till, I was just thinking to myself, I would work till 12 or 1 in the morning, get up at 6:15. I don't have that energy anymore, but I never stopped because I just wanted to keep, I wanted to keep clients in the pipeline. I couldn't do that today. I wouldn't want to do that today. So I think that there are stages in your life where you have to decide whether you want to be that entrepreneur or how much of your work life do you really want to have?
Make your priorities.
Yeah. where your priorities
it's
are.
good to know that.
Yeah. Anyway, you and I are on the executive committee for the Women's Business Council, and to the extent that you can get involved with something, I feel like that's fun. We're meeting tremendous women all the time.
Yeah.
And
it's worth the time that we put into it.
It is. Yeah, it is. And, now when we go to networking events, we're just flitting around all over the place. And it's like you see people you've known.
Yeah. And
again, maybe you'll never do business with that person. Maybe they'll never send somebody away, but you never know.
Yeah.
And it's just good to have a resource.
Definitely is. Yeah. And the WBC is a great resource.
It is.
For the women in business, the Women's Business Council. Right. It is a good resource for the women in the area.
It is. And the chamber is wonderful. Really love our chamber. I feel we used to belong to a couple different chambers. I think you belong to the Lake George. Yeah. I've networked with them just because of the event that the two chambers do, but we've belonged to other chambers. And I must say that this one is the ARCC is very friendly, very welcoming. Yeah. Everybody makes you feel like you're an important part of the community.
And even when you're just there's new developments all the time too. Sure. How they do it for such a small sort of team of actual paid staff.
I know.
They use their resources well.
Yeah.
With the members, because I think so many members are passionate about that chamber that they give a lot of their time, like we do.
Yeah.
And you're downplaying your role because you're chair this year, so you're leading us.
Well, yeah, you know what? But it's a great group, and I wouldn't say that it's not a heavy lift. It really isn't. Tracy Wardwell, the past chairs, now she's working on our summit coming up in May. I know that she's working really hard on making that summit really successful.
Absolutely.
And I hope she doesn't set the bar too high, because I have to do that next year. Mm-hmm. So, but and we're fortunate too to have Carol Ann. She's just wonderful.
Yeah, Caroline Conover is our liaison with the chamber.
Right, Caroline Conover. She's just she's always there, and she keeps us on track, which I love.
Yeah,
so.
Everyone's got their part to play. I think that's one of the keys of a successful committee like that. Yeah. Is that we all have our role, but we work well together and help each other out.
Yeah.
Get the job done.
Even
though it's something extra we're doing.
Yeah. And it's fun to see the WBC meetings get bigger and bigger. I remember when there was 10 or 20 of us, and then sometimes it went down to 10.
So we're regularly getting 50, at least 50 people in. Yeah. So now we have to account for that, because that makes it a little bit more of a challenge, because you got to make sure there's room for people. Yeah.
I noticed that in our meeting last week. I was standing. There's a few of us standing in the back because there weren't enough chairs. I love that.
Yeah.
There's not enough chairs.
Definitely.
So, but
keep us on our toes, literally.
Yeah. And you've got a challenge too. The education part of it is, we can pick a theme, but getting the right people there to present, discuss, or a panel. I mean, that's a bit of work,
Yeah, I love that stuff. So
that's good.
That's why, That's
why you do it so well.
And I'm always out talking to people, so I come up with these ideas. But I didn't come up with the last one. They volunteered, so that was just good timing.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You've got to make the most of those sorts of opportunities, and that's where networking, not only for your business, but for all sorts of reasons that, you're meeting people that are great resources personally as well as professionally.
Yeah. So no, it's a great business community. I'm very glad we're here. We love living in Saratoga, but I much rather work up here. And
Glens Falls is such a dynamic place now. Like, I was at the Hyde on the weekend. I did a tour for women in art.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and it's just amazing that Glens Falls has a museum of that standard.
Yeah, I'm actually going over to meet with Jeff in a little bit. It is. I tell people all the time, it's like, they have Rembrandts, Picassos, they have an Ellen Brooks.
And it was like the home. Yeah. So it's this, I don't know what era it's from, but they've got the furnishings. So it's a museum in itself.
It is.
And then with all the art and programs that they have. So, and that's just one of many wonderful things we
we
have
have
in
here.
Glens Falls. So
You
I'm
know
a
what's
big ambassador for Glens Falls.
Yeah, I like.
See, I'm from Gloversville.
Oh, are you really?
I grew up in Gloversville, and then I moved to New York City as soon as, for college.
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah.
yeah, but I came back to this area. My brother was living in this area, but I'd seen like how it has come
Changed.
along in the past few years. So it was a good place for me and my daughter.
I'm so excited about South Street. When we first came here, I kept saying to our landlord, like, isn't somebody going to do something?
Yeah.
And to see all the activity, we can hear them. They're literally knocking
and across
down
the
right
street
right
also, yeah. So you've got it on all sides,
which is fine. No, I love it. I love the
Once
growth.
it's done, it's going to be amazing.
It is, yeah. And I tell my friends in Saratoga, I said the restaurants in Glens Falls really, really are great. You're missing it if you're not going up there.
Yeah.
And
it's easier. Well, I don't know if it's easier to navigate than Saratoga. Parking,
yeah.
hopefully, it
It's
can be a
probably
bit of a challenge, but
I think that might we'll see.
Saratoga's kind of gotten famous for parking issues, but
I hope Glens Falls doesn't too. I hope they have a plan.
But it just shows the importance of how everything in a city or town impacts the businesses that are here.
Exactly. Because you tell people to come to the showroom. It's like, it's gonna. Believe me, once you get past that kind of rundown section, Glens Falls is really great. But now it's gonna be a destination area. It's gonna be lovely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
And I think too is that, like, because if we circle back to our women in business theme, that the fact that the chamber is the permanent staff are all women too,
is that great?
That it makes it an even better resource. Like they are for everybody, obviously, but it does make it a better resource for us because we're seeing people leading.
Exactly.
That are females and are strong, successful leaders. So it gives us and the women that are coming up behind us good role models.
Good role models. Trisha's amazing. Trisha, and she really has, she has more sway and then she leads on. I mean, she is a fundamental part of this community.
Yeah.
And the decisions that are made. So I love that.
And they all get very involved in the community.
They do.
And they really care. You can tell, like, they really care about the members. They really care about the businesses and everything that's going on.
Right. And to your point, all of businesses, I mean, we're just this tiny little business. And yet every time, they see me, it's like they make you feel like you're Glens Falls Hospital or Aerobank. Like they don't let size get in the way. I mean, they make you feel so welcome. And as I said, not all the chambers around do that. So that's
every chamber has a focus, I think, and that's like a lot of people say that the Lake George is more tourism focused, which isn't 100% true. It's just that there are a lot more tourism, and it's connected with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is tourism and bringing visitors into the area. So there is a big link there.
It's a big part of our economy.
So definitely is. So one of their KPIs is definitely bed nights and tax dollars coming from that.
That tax revenue.
So, and then here, because it's membership funded, they're they're focused on the members in a different way.
Right.
I'm not saying the others aren't focused on their members.
Oh yeah, no, but just
but so it does show the difference.
There's a much broader type of business in the ARCC than there are in other chambers too. There's like industrial, like Finch Prine, and then you've got retail and hospitality
and massage therapists
and a great massage therapy. There's several of them in town too. So and great culture. We're right around the corner from the Chapman Museum.
I've never been in there.
I've never been in there. And, again, because I love the Adirondacks, I mean, they've got, Stoddard was from Glens Falls. They've got the biggest Stoddard collection. Do you think I've been over there yet? No.
We have a symphony. Did you know that? Because I didn't know it till it popped up on Facebook a few months ago, and I've gotten to know them better.
Yeah. And we have
but a lot of people don't know.
We have a symphony. And we have great art. We have a great art community, and we have a hockey team.
Yeah.
We've got it. Yeah.
I love the hockey.
Yeah. It's great. I just love
Yeah.
it, you know,
Especially if they're doing good. I mean, I think people love them regardless, but like last year they had a good year. And so that kind of helps the buzz,
yeah.
bringing people into town
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the games. And
Absolutely.
like the restaurants are filled before.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Talk about having a parking problem. That's the nice when there's a hockey game.
Yes.
But, you know, and getting back to entrepreneurship. So I think that, you know, if there was a woman who's like, I have an idea, I think that this community is worth trying to start that idea, because I think that there's a lot of support, not only from the chamber,
Mhm.
but, you know, you and I know when we see somebody new at the Women's Business Council, you know, tell us what you need. We'll see if we can make connections.
Yeah.
We want people to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, we
And
want,
we're focused on
you know,
that.
I love seeing people flourish and
Yeah.
and make their dream come true.
Yeah.
You know? So
And they really embrace the newer businesses. They've got the ribbon cutting.
ribbon cutting is always big.
It's a good way to get promoted.
Yep.
When I'm talking to people about joining the chamber, that's always like joining, even if it's just to get the ribbon cutting.
Yeah.
Because it's getting your business in front of all the members. Like
Absolutely.
even if they don't all come out for the ribbon cutting,
They'll
there's
see it.
promotions about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
They'll see it in the weekly newsletter. And then the mixers are always great. I mean, the mixers are always just so well attended. And and that's when you really like to see people over and over again. Then you start making friends. And,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that.
And then we're lucky we've got the Women's Business Council with our
Women's
monthly
Business Council.
meetings. So
And then they've got the Veterans Council
Yeah.
and the Nonprofit Council.
I went to the nonprofit the other
Have you?
day just to kind of check in and see like who goes to those and what are
Right.
their kind of issues. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
I gave a pitch for the WBC because
Okay.
a lot of you have already come, but you
Yeah.
know, don't
And that
forget we're here for every woman.
Yeah. And maybe that's why we had quite a few nonprofits at last week's meeting. Maybe
No, this was after that.
Oh, it was after it?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Maybe we'll have more. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. So
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
getting,
this is
getting the word out. But yeah, thank you. Any
This is-
last minute advice for women thinking of starting their own business?
Do it.
Just do it.
Do it. Jump in, you know, do some research, get the resources you think you need to get started, but just do it. You know what? You don't know until you try.
Right.
And, you know, if it doesn't work out, there's always plan B. But I have to say that and a lot of things in life, I didn't want to do. I was a small town country girl. Doing things out of my comfort zone was not in my playbook. And every time I've done that, I haven't regretted it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I haven't regretted it once. So
That's a great note to end it on. So thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you very much for coming back.
Thank you for joining me in this episode of Building Success Stories. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? I've got you covered. Visit my website, AnnDonnellySuccessStories.com, to access additional resources and sign up for my newsletter. And to work with me directly, visit AnnDonnelly.com to learn more about my services as a fractional COO and business consultant. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and never miss an episode. Until next time, keep building your success story.